sitting on potentially huge amounts of natural gas. We all know that. But to get it, you have to frack. That will be hydraulic fracturing, blasting water and some chemicals into shale rock to release the oil and gas. The process has been blamed for earth tremors, some water pollution. That's what it's blamed on. Will the Obama administration allow it? Full steam ahead. Joining us now is Robert Bryce from the Manhattan Institute. Robert, you're our expert on all things energy. Will the Obama administration take the plunge and say, yes, get out there and frack?
Stuart, I think they already have. If you follow what the president has been saying and you look at the trends in the oil and gas sector, where last year we had record natural gas production. Just yesterday, the IEA said that the U.S. could surpass the Saudis in oil production within 5 years. The Obama administration is on record supporting hydraulic fracturing. And recall when the president at the Democratic National Convention, he mentioned jobs one time, and the industry that he mentioned when he talked about jobs was natural gas.
But isn't the fracking that we're doing in America, isn't that taking place on private land, which is not subject to federal regulations? And if you try to do it on federal land, you can't do it because of the regulations imposed by the Obama administration.
Well, earlier this year, Stuart, the Obama administration and the Interior Department, to be more specific, did issue a proposed rule that would require disclosure of the chemicals used in hydraulic fracturing when drilling is done on public lands. But my bottom line here is that it's clear the EPA, the Interior Department, may impose some more regulations on drilling, both nationally and on federal lands and so on. But it cannot and will not stop all the momentum that's happening in the upstream oil and gas sector. It's just too big.
I wasn't expecting you to say this, but you're basically saying, yeah, fracking is here, it stays, it expands, and will be the method by which America overtakes Saudi Arabia in oil production in the year 2020. It's going to happen, you say.
There's no question, Stuart. The developments in the U.S. oil and gas industry that have happened in the last 4 years, the development of and perfection, really, of extended reach horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing, this is the most important energy development in the U.S. and I would even argue the world since the discovery of the East Texas field in 1930. And kudos to Obama. He gets it, and they're not trying to stop it. Now, New York State, you know, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Robert, I just want to ask about the EPA. You were talking about the Interior Department, but one of the problems with the EPA is as Stuart mentioned, it's new restrictions on the fracking process, and it wants to supplant state regulators. Every state has its own version of the EPA. The feds want to Bigfoot the state regulators to prevent the kind of fracking that's leading to the developments you were talking about, don't they?
They do. Well, look, that's not clear that the EPA wants all of that authority. The industry clearly wants that.
Hold on a second. What gives you any indication that that's true? Because the EPA has been extending its authority every chance they get.
Sure. But the reality is the states are doing a good job, and the industry, to its credit, is already doing a lot of the disclosure that the environmental groups want. So I think the EPA is mindful of what the economic boom that's underway. Remember, Obama won in Ohio and Pennsylvania. Those are two states that were absolutely critical for his election, but those are also the states where oil and gas development is really booming.
Yeah, but Robert, he didn't win in those areas where all the jobs are being created. Real quick. I guess to your point, the administration will use the threat of the EPA to probably shake down the natural gas industry for more money. Isn't that the bottom line?
Well, perhaps. Look, I think what's going to happen, we're going to see some modest increase in regulation, both at the state and federal levels. Both are likely. But again, I think what we're seeing already is such incredibly positive news for the economy, for jobs, for balance of trade, that the Obama administration would be foolish, absolutely insane to try and stop it.
It's ironic, isn't it, that fossil fuels, and natural gas is a fossil fuel, could actually bail out the Obama administration on jobs and the economy. That I find fascinating. But it's correct, isn't it? That's what's going to happen.
Well, I think it's already underway.
Yeah.
A quick fact, Stuart. 4 years ago today, nat gas was selling for about $6.50. Today, it's about $3.50. That reduction of is saving the U.S. economy about $200 million a day. That's about $70 billion a year. This is real savings to the U.S. economy, and it's coming at a very critical time.
Robert Bryce, Manhattan Institute. Thanks, as always, for joining us. Thanks, Robert.
Thanks a million, Stuart.
A topic